Hey guys, Jake Blow, the Habitat Pro here. We're going to come up pretty quick on habitat season. So when you guys are out there in the stand this fall, looking at those projects, how deer responded to your projects, I'm going to give you the answer to one of your questions that's going to come up. Should I do this kind of stuff coming up here in the winter while it's still dormant? Or should I do it come around next spring or in the summer? Can I do it in the summer? I just acquired a property in the fall. When should I do this kind of chainsaw stuff? So I'm going to show you some examples today from our home property here where we did some hinge cutting. Sometimes we did some winter cutting and just cut them straight off, a traditional felling, and didn't hinge cut. And then other times we cut in the growing months. So that's what I'm standing next to here is an example of that. This is a dormant season cut ash tree, and it's right next to the yard here. So I didn't want to hinge cut right in the yard. So what I did was I just decapitated every one of these trees because they had just gotten too tall to be serving any purpose. And what happened was we got immense growth that I'll show you here in a second. I mean, some of these stems on this ash are well over a thumb diameter just in one season of growth. And you can see this one right next to me here is massive in height as well. So we got 12 to 15 feet on some of these, and it all depends on what kind of a root system you have on this stuff. I'll also show you some stuff from the growing season where we cut some massive basswood and some massive box elder down, so you get to see that and what kind of growth we got out of that. And then I'll also pan through our swamp where I did some hinge cutting in the winter months, and you'll get to see what blew up out of there. All right, so there's one of our ash right next to our Norways. Now that is deer damage right there. We've got a pretty consistent movement right through the yard here after dark, of course, but that's what that's from. So that tree right there was cut at the exact same time and is actually a 16-inch stump. And that one was very similar to this one. I'm holding the camera at face height right now. I'm about 5'10", so you can see that tree has got a good 7 feet of growth on it, immensely packed with stems. See if I can even find the stump in here anymore for you. You can see there's the stump, about an 8-incher, winter cut. All of these are, and a traditional felling. So you can see that one there is, boy, that's a good 15 feet tall. Lots of stems. I mean, look at the diameter of some of this stuff. Just absolutely immense. And on some properties, there's another one. That's the one I was standing by previously. On some properties, guys, to be honest with you, I wouldn't say any property needs hinge cutting or needs timber harvest. There are some that need both. There are some that need one or the other, and there are some that need really none of those. So it just depends on your property what and how you want it to look, because obviously this being right next to the house, we wanted some screening, we wanted more stems, but the route to get that was with a dormant season cut. Now look at this one. This is an extremely healthy box elder that we cut down, a good probably 2.5 foot diameter tree, and you can see here that that one is probably maxed out at chest height right now, not near the growth that the ash got. However, I think in the future this particular tree will definitely rebound and catch up to those. But now look at these. These were a couple of box elders that were not necessarily very healthy, hollowed out in the middle, and you can see those barely made hip height. But you can also see there's a couple more of the ash right there, but you can also see that there's an immense amount of deer browse on these as well right there, just from being so close to this seclusion blend on the septic mound right here. That's our real world miscanthus. That's a trial video, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. Follow the Facebook page, follow the YouTube page if you want updates on that. That's just a little test band we did. Seems to be doing really well in the clover. It wasn't harmed at all by any of the drought we had. All right, guys, you can see this is a dormant season cut maple. And you can see the intense amount of browse on that one. Just an awesome amount of regrowth on here. Here's another one. It's a little different. Now this one was a red oak. They don't always do the stump sprouting very well, but you can see we do have some growth on the base right here that's getting hit pretty well. Alright, so I'm going to talk quietly here, guys, because this is where we've had some deer bedding this season after I left it alone for 2 seasons to see if deer would use it, and lo and behold they didn't, because there just wasn't enough cover. And now this year, after a cutting in late winter, we've got a lot more activity in here. So you can see this ash is the same species that's up on the other end by the house that I decapitated, but this one I hinge cut. And it was a really successful hinge, really good. You can see the stump is right here. Okay, and I got a lot of growth on that stump, but you can see it's not near as much as what I got decapitating it over on the north side of the house. And then off to the stem and the branches, you can see we didn't get as much growth off of that either. There's some there, the tree is definitely still alive, but it did not throw it as aggressively as it did where I took the stem off completely. So what do you learn from this? Well, there's a place for everything. Hinge cutting definitely has its place. Obviously this area I watched for a couple years and it wasn't being used, not at all. So it was obvious to me that I needed immediate cover in here, and the 2 best things that I did were hitting the reed canary grass in the bottom of this marsh with Roundup really early before leaf out, and then hinge cutting it right after that. And then I hit it again with Roundup where I could reach and where the buds had not yet formed. So I got a lot of regeneration, a lot of new seedlings in here before that canary grass came back, and I'll do the same thing in the spring again. Now, if you decapitate your trees and you take them in a traditional way, you're going to get more regrowth, but we saw that the regrowth is definitely more aggressive if you do it in the dormant season. This is Jake Bull, the Habitat Pro. Looking forward to planning some projects from the deer stand this year, guys. These are great things to think about, great things to plan while you're sitting there out in God's creation. God bless. Get out and enjoy your woods.